Today, we are talking about growing your practice for free. That's the subject of this particular webinar. And my hope is that we're going to be able to give you tools today that will combine structure and some very specific hands-on kinds of ideas, pieces that you can implement into your practice and into your practice marketing. We're sponsored today by WellSpace Northwest, which is actually me. So quick commercial, WellSpace. We're flexible rental space for community. We're there to support the wellness community by offering no lease, easy to utilize rental spaces that can be used as little or as often as needed. Today, we're going to be talking about three different things. The introduction to marketing, we're going to discuss the basic concepts of marketing and try to apply a definition to marketing that might be a little better suited for you. Marketing has some negative connotations that people are not always excited about when they think of marketing their own practice or business. We're going to talk about online opportunities, free ones, low cost ones, and the things that are just most important in your online presence. There's a lot of information out there between how much content and social media posting and your website and PR and, you know, all of these different aspects, SEO and SEM and all these acronyms. We're going to break it down into some simple things that you need to be doing and a lot of things that you probably don't need to be doing until you get those things settled in and kind of straightforward. And then we're going to be doing a step-by-step demo today for those people who don't already have a Google business profile. Turns out a lot of therapists, especially independent practitioners, don't have one. And what a lot of independent practitioners don't understand is even if you're working for somebody else, go get a business license. You can do this and get it so that you can start building reviews in your own name and in your own brand just for long-term career management. So we're going to be going over all of those things today. Let's go ahead and let's move forward. So first I want to define marketing. I know we all know what marketing is, but it's really not selling your services or products in order to generate revenue. That can be a way to look at marketing, but when you look at it like that, it feels icky. It feels icky to just talk about selling services. It feels icky to sort of talk about that aspect of marketing. It also makes you inclined to start doing things that are a little more desperate, like discounting services and things like that. I don't agree with. So marketing is creating a path for clients that leads to time on your table. That's what we're going to go with today as a definition. And that really is a great definition for massage therapists out there. Marketing is just simply creating an opportunity and a path that's going to lead people to getting time on your table where they'll get to know you, your services, and get to know more about what you believe in. That comes down to what I want to talk about in its initial form. This is the structure for today's webinar. This is the structure for a lot of what I'm hoping to impart on you as a marketer. We're in the terms of marketing. We are going to talk about the customer journey. The customer journey is simply the points at which somebody interacts with your brand or interacts with you throughout the process of that relationship. So there are multiple aspects here to this journey. Now, there's a lot of ways you can map a customer journey, but we're going to stick with a very simple structure here today and a really simple layout so that we can talk about these different pieces. The first one along the journey is awareness. And this is the definition is the client becomes aware of your service or the problem or an option for their problem or solution. Now, this is where everyone stops. This is what people think marketing is, awareness. If I can just get out the bullhorn, if I can just find a way to tell enough people, then I will be busy and I'll have a successful practice and it'll do what I want it to do. The problem with the customer journey is that awareness is only the very, very first step. And so many people get tied up in this idea of, how do I get my name out there? How do I get my presence out there? If you're not doing the rest of this journey, though, you're just losing people along the way. And it's so much more work. Awareness is the hard phase in a lot of ways, trying to figure out how to get in front of people. It's either expensive or it's time consuming. And if you're not doing the rest of these pieces, you're really letting that fall short. So that's an important aspect to what it is that we're going to be talking about. So the next one is consideration. And consideration is the client learns or discovers more about your practice or service, right? Consideration is also known as exploration. So they're aware of you, but now who are you? Why should they trust you? Why should they give you their time? Why should they help you in your practice, or why should they work with you in that practice? The conversion, that's the next step. That's okay. They've made a decision, but now how do they work with you? How do they contact you? How do they make that transition? How do they move into the piece? That's the client connects with you. And that's something that we'll talk about a little bit. But mostly, we're going to focus on awareness and consideration today. And then we're going to jump to loyalty. This is developing that ongoing relationship and developing that ongoing relationship with your clients. So this step is often forgotten about. And it, again, leads back to this problem where you're spending all your energy and time on awareness. And if you don't work with consideration, conversion, and loyalty, it starts to break down. Now, I want to give you an example. This has nothing to do with massage, but this is a good example because everybody's aware of what these guys are out there doing, and that's Amazon. Okay. I realize your practice has very little to do with Amazon, but everybody follows this basic path of the customer journey. So let's talk about awareness. First of all, Amazon is everywhere. They're everywhere online. They'll probably show up right in the search. They've worked really hard to do all of that. Again, that's not what we're going to recommend for you, but that's how they handle awareness. They make sure that every time you search for a product or resource, Amazon is an option. But then let's talk about consideration, the phase that we tend to forget about a lot of times. What are they doing to help us consider them, right? They've built a quality site. They've made it incredibly convenient. They offer free shipping. There's all of these reasons and value propositions, as it's called, that moves you from just awareness to consideration. There are a lot of companies where you can become aware, they sell you a product, but if they don't do a good job on the consideration side, it doesn't work. Again, I realize you guys are a service, not a product. This is just a general idea. Go to conversion. How do they make it easy? Well, Amazon has mastered easy conversion. We'll talk about why that's important later, but free returns, one button click, all of those things. That's just making the process to make that decision and finalize to that connection even easier. And of course, loyalty. They have membership programs, review systems, and everything else in place to make sure that it creates a virtuous cycle, which is what we really want to do. This journey actually looks like it ends somewhere, but the truth is that road comes right back around with good referrals back to awareness and takes you back into that word of mouth. But now you're doing more with that virtuous cycle and you're getting more out of the entire program. All right. So I want to start this conversation on awareness. We're going to talk about what awareness is. And again, this is the part that everyone is pretty familiar with, but let's talk about why and what. So how are you getting seen? That's really the question you ask yourself when you're talking about awareness. When you talk about word of mouth, when you talk about professional referral, powerful, because consideration is already built in, because conversion can be possibly built in, because the systems are very simple. For somebody to say, go use this person, here's how I do it, it just takes away all those challenges. But if you want to find clients out there that would love your services, but don't understand your business model, then you have to work on all of these things. So let's just talk about the awareness part. Google Local, Google My Business. We're going to focus on that today because it's a free service and it's one of the most powerful tools you have for awareness out there. And it also fits into some of the other parts of the customer journey as well. Social media, you could obviously be writing content, putting out memes. You could be putting out things that are brand related at that point, and reaching out to people that way. Networking and events. You could show up at events. You could do chair massage. You could be part of a chamber. You could do any number of things to get your name out there as well. Paid advertising. You could get top of list in Google, Bing, or any of those types of things by just paying for some ads. Now, there's whole science to paying for ads and how to handle AdWords campaigns and things like that. We're not going to focus on paid stuff today, but that is an option for everybody that's out there. As some of you mentioned before, when we've talked about most popular ways to do it, professional and client referrals. If you can build programs for those things, those are going to be powerful tools to build your business and really help you out throughout the process. All right. I want to talk about two types of awareness marketing. This is going to just help you as you think about awareness marketing and what you should be doing or what you can be doing for awareness. This is a marketing ideology, but it's a framework that you should just have access to when you're making marketing decisions as your own business or business owner. There are two types of awareness marketing to be aware of. One, passive marketing. Now, passive marketing sounds like it's no good because the word passive has a tendency to feel like it's not powerful, but actually passive marketing relies on the customer's need for the service first, and then to seek out a solution. You're waiting on them to find you, right? This is SEO. This is Google Local. This is they put in a search. They're looking for massage. They're looking for therapy. They're looking for certain things. And at that point, they find you, right? That is passive marketing. It is actually deeply powerful because you're reaching them at the exact moment that they have a need. And now you just have to work with that exploration phase, trying to help them understand why they should choose you amongst others that might offer somewhat similar practice or modalities. But passive marketing is a powerful tool because somebody's doing it. Just think if somebody walked up to you and said, hi, I need a haircut, and then you recommended a place, that's a lot better than if you walked up to somebody and said actively, hey, I know a great hairstylist. That's great. I wasn't really looking, but thanks for letting me know, right? And that's what active marketing is. Active marketing has to introduce your service to people who are not yet searching for the solution or ready to commit. So they didn't know they needed it, right? You could run display ads for that kind of thing. You can put things on social media. You can do Facebook advertising. This just reaches people at a point where you can guess, you can assume, but they haven't actually sought out an answer. They aren't searching for anything. So you have to, if you show up to an event, if you show up to Clark County Fair and you have a booth there, right? That's active marketing. It's high numbers game. You're going to reach a lot of people and you're waiting for somebody to go, oh yeah, I did actually want that. Or I was thinking about that. But it's not the same as if you show up somewhere where everybody there is needing the service that you're providing. So just remember, passive and active marketing, they have different considerations. So if somebody says, hey, do you want to take on this? It should be active and requires higher numbers for conversion. So if it's an event and there's going to be lots of people there, but they're not necessarily your people, like say the Clark County Fair or something like that, where the purpose wasn't to go get a massage, then that could be beneficial because there's lots of people. But if it's a low amount of people, you're going to get a really low conversion rate without offering discounts or other types of things, which I'm completely against. And I can talk about that a little bit more in the questions later if you guys want to talk about discounts and things like that. Let's talk about the best form of passive free marketing that you can do. And that's Google My Business. Some of you probably already do this. We're going to talk about ways to maybe improve your profile. But Google My Business is the #1 local way. It used to be called Google Local. I'll still refer to it as that sometimes. It's the map system, but there's a lot of misnomers here. First of all, people don't know how they get on it. So we're going to go through that step by step here in just a second. But also people don't know when they can. A lot of people don't realize if you have a service, but you don't have a service location, you can still be on Google My Business. You don't have to list a location. So if you have an independent practice where you go to people's houses, or let's be another option, you have a place that you go and you serve clients, but on the side, you're trying to build your reputation and brand, and you don't have a location for that or anything, you can still use it. If you have a shared location like Wellspace, like any of these, any kind of place where multiple people are meeting, you can use the same location as someone else. The key is you have an independent business license and an independent business. Now, sometimes Google will just boot you for no reason. Dealt with a couple in the last couple of weeks for clients along those lines. But really, in the end, this is all within fair practice. It's all something that you can do. So if you have a business, so if you're an independent practitioner, but you still work for somebody, I recommend go get that business license and, make it a little more official and then get on Google. And here's why, because if you want Google reviews, you have to have a Google My Business local account. It's important. So not only is it going to be brand building and possibly give you some awareness, but it's going to build your referral base. It's going to build your reviews, which you can then use on websites or other things. And it's just a powerful tool. It's really hard to ignore what Google has built and what Google has done. So much of the web and the web traffic and all local traffic goes through there. I'm sure every single person here has searched recently and utilized the local My Business area to make their choices. It is a powerful, again, free tool. This is Google My Business. If you have an account, please pay attention anyway, because there might be some things in here that I can help you with. If you don't have one, though, I just want you to understand how easy it is. And we'll have notes for everybody at the end of this. I'll send out things to everyone. To get a Google My Business, you have to have a Gmail account first and foremost. If you don't use Gmail, go make one, go create one. It doesn't even really matter what it is. This is not necessarily going to show up. Just remember your password, remember your username, and get one. Everyone should have a Gmail account just because there's so many services tied to Gmail these days. All right. So you go to business.google.com and you sign in once you have your Gmail account. Now, this is the first screen you'll see once you sign in. So a lot of people, first thing you want to do is you want to put in a business name. If you start to put in a business name, it's going to try to find you. So if I put in like Wellspace will show up, things like that. Most likely though, if it doesn't know about you already, if you haven't built a website, if you haven't been a going concern for a long time, if you're just an independent practitioner, you can put in information here. Now, your business name, you cannot cheat the name and you should not cheat the name, but the name is an important part of how you are represented. And here's what I mean by you cannot cheat the name. You cannot keyword stuff in a business name. It needs to be the way your name is seen. However, if you're an independent practitioner, there's nothing wrong with putting in your name, and LMT or licensed massage therapist right past it. Licensed massage therapist will get you some keyword activity because of massage and therapist. And that's right there in the brand. Now the license part is showing, and that should be well within Google's policies because that is how you are seen as an entity. If you are called relaxation massage, you can put relaxation massage. If your signage is relaxation massage and deep tissue or whatever, you can put that. But you can't just keyword stuff, right? If you're just called rejuvenation and you put rejuvenation dash, massage, deep tissue, craniosacral, Reiki, whatever, just a bunch of things, you're going to get kicked off Google. So don't do that. So follow this and then put it in the business name. So we're just going to make something up right now. So that's the name of my business. Now, this is the key. These are checkboxes. You can check more than one. If you are a service business, this is if you are an independent professional and you do not have a location that you want to associate, if you don't want to tell everyone about your home address, if you're meeting people, if you have a place that you're working, but this is not that profile, right? Then you are a service-based business. This will keep you off maps, but will allow you to have a service area. If you have a retail facility, if you are seeing patients consistently at the same place, if you are at some sort of even a shared space like Wellspace or anything along those lines, you can put in online retail local store and be there. You're not online retail. Put in local store and that'll get you on the map. So in this case, we're just going to be a service business. We're going to assume at this point you're just building out your profile as an independent practitioner. Category is hugely important in how you're going to get seen. Notice we put massage. There are lots of options here. There's some that really astound me that it's even on here, but we're going to go with massage therapist in this particular case. You can add other ones later. And then now we have service area. Service area is what you're going to use instead of the map system. Service area is something you can do with zip codes. You can do with cities. The only thing that they recommend is that you don't go outside of a service area of about 200 miles or about 2 hours drive either way. That shouldn't be a big issue around here, but if you just want to put, like, say, Vancouver, you can put that as your service area as well. Great. You can put in a phone number. You can put in a website. Highly recommend this. If you don't have a phone number that you want to be showing up on here, don't put it in there. But I recommend you get one. You can get a Google number. There's a lot of ways that you can get a phone number if you're not comfortable with your mobile phone being on public display through the Google My Business. But the deeper your profile goes, the more you filled it out, the more ways that people can contact you, the stronger the profile is, and the more advantage you have against the other massage therapists and other people that are creating profiles as well, because you want to be at the top of page when people are searching for your particular style of massage or massage therapy in general in a local area. So you'd put in a phone number here and a website. And I'm going to be surprised if Google doesn't bark at me soon. Okay, put yourself on the map. Get personalized email notifications. This is just a confirmation page. We're just going to continue. That's nothing. There it goes. All right. Please enter your mailing address to verify. You can do this later, but you are going to want to verify your account with Google for it to be used and to be more powerful. We'll verify later. For now, it needs to be a physical address. That's a mailing address. Business hours. If you have them, put them in. If you're not even sure what they are, put them in as best you can. The more information that you put into Google, the better off you are going to be. So we're going to skip that now. Now, let customers message you. If you want to accept messages, I recommend it. It means that people will be sending chat messages to you through the Google system. You need to be able to respond. We understand you can't respond instantly, but they will ding you if you aren't responding to these fairly quickly. So if you're going to turn on messages, which is turned on by default, make sure that you're going ahead and utilizing that system and that you're responding if people have questions. If you don't want to do that or you aren't sure, you can go ahead and turn that off. Now, let's talk about business description. You have 750 characters in here. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't know. Nothing about this description is going to impact your placement on Google local, okay? Nothing that you write here is going to do anything towards how high or low you go from Google. That's something that the marketing world has come to grips with and tested. So it is pointless and not a good idea to keyword stuff, right? I'm a massage therapist who gives massage because massage is great and I love massage. All you're going to do is get kicked off. It's not going to go well for you in that situation. So write something that's a good description of what it is that you do. Now, one of the things we're going to be talking about a little later, I'll just kind of give you a glimpse now, is just how that writing style works. First of all, if you're not good at writing, ask somebody to look over what you wrote or ask somebody to help you write it if that's not a strength of yours. Second of all, be writing in more you language than I language, right? This is what we do for you. Here's how we help you. Here's what's important to you, right? Nobody really cares about your practice until they know that your practice is caring about them, right? And so you want to write in a way that they see themselves reflected in that description. So do you have headaches? Do you have this? Do you have that? Then we can help with that. You can get this service, those kinds of things. If you just say we the whole time, then you're going to find people disconnect from that description a lot. Try to use all 750 characters. Don't write more than you should, but honestly, the more you put in, the better. Also, we'll talk about this a little bit more later. I wouldn't recommend being too specific here with some things like modalities, but you can in this particular area. We'll talk about reasons not to do that later. Photos. Add photos. This is going to make you stand out a little bit more. It also shows that you filled out the profile more, which gives Google more information. The more the profile is filled out, the more that Google is going to push you towards the top because they assume that you are a legitimate business. If you only quickly put your name in, you're not going to get pushed to the top. It's just not going to happen. So go ahead and put in photos. They have to be your photos that you can put in legitimately. Take a photo of yourself, take a photo of the space that you might be in, take a photo of anything, but you do have to own the intellectual property for that. Don't just start putting in stock photos that you don't have access to or that aren't representative of your business. This always pops up, claim $500 in free advertising. That's for paid AdWords. You have to spend money to make money on that. Then they'll give you the credit. You can just skip right past that right now. I don't recommend you get into AdWords unless you have some skills there or you have some of these other things taken care of first. Your edits will be visible when verified. So I'm not going to go through this any further, but there's a verification process and there's a couple ways that you can be verified. You can be verified off of a domain name. You can be verified off phone. That's probably the best way to be verified. Once you put that phone number on, they'll send you a text message or call you. And then you can go ahead and let them know you put in a code. And then at that point, you're verified. Once you have a verified account, you're going to show up a lot more and Google is less likely to mess with you. Google has one job. They want to give high quality leads to the consumer who's searching. They want to know that you're a quality establishment. The more information you put in, the more quality you are. The verification, the more quality you are. That whole process, the more quality you are. That is how you create a Google business account. Once you have a Google business account in your Google, if you just type my business, it'll pop up your profile. I have a lot of profiles, but because this is what I do for a living. But let's just pick one of them. This is a client of mine. But you'll see that there are interactions over here that you can use to continue to grow. You can add photos. You can set up the ability to do bookings. You can add services. You can add information to it. Most importantly, let's talk about this one really fast. Q&A. So there's a question and answer area. You can go into the questions and answers area and ask your own question and answer your own question. You simply go in, you ask a question, and then here, actually, let's see. I think I did it with well space. So you can go in and ask your own question. Sorry, my internet's being a little slow. And then answer your own question. And in fact, if you get 3 likes in one, that's the one that will show up dominantly at the top. So I recommend you like it. And then you get 2 of your friends to go in, look up your business profile and like that as well. And then that question will show up, which may help incentivize somebody to use you or to look through your profile. Notice when the pictures show up, notice everything that you want in here. The more robust this is, the better off you are going to be. All right, let's keep going then. So keys to a solid business profile. Claim and verify your listing. You're going to want a listing that's verified. Again, I'm going to send out the information about how to do this, but you go to business.google.com. That's how you set up the profile. You go through the process as I showed you, and then you claim and verify your listing. Complete your profile. Fill out as many things as you can in that profile. People tend to just go quickly through it. It allows you to skip. Don't skip or skip, but then go back to your profile by typing my business into a logged in Google page, and then go ahead and make those edits and updates. All right. Create a consistent NAPW. What does that mean? That means that on your website, on your listings, and on your local, use your name, address, phone, and web identical. If you write your web address as www.whatever, then do that everywhere. If you don't do that, which you don't need to, by the way, you can leave that off. In fact, I recommend camel caps for everything. So the beginning of every word, you use a cap. That just makes it more visually appealing to everyone. But if you're going to do that, write it that way everywhere. If you put HTTPS or HTTP, write it that way everywhere. Phone number. Do you use brackets? Do you not? Format things identical. Google can only tell so much. And if things are identical, it builds trust with Google. So you want to have that consistency through how your website is formed, how your Google local is formed, and all those things. Write a customer-focused description. We covered that already. That's how you make sure that your customers are interested in you. That's for the exploration phase. That's not about awareness. It's not about getting to the top of page. That's about actually attracting somebody once they find you. Update regularly. The more regularly you update your account, the more often that Google will consider you a legitimate business and push you towards the top. Remember that Q&A section. Ask some important questions that you think you get asked a lot or that you think will be helpful for somebody. Answer them and get a couple of your friends to like the questions. That will move it up the food chain and show it right in your listing initially. And if that happens, that's just added real estate that gives you more attention and it gives you a higher chance that through that exploration phase, somebody will choose you. Okay, collect and respond to all reviews. So let's talk about the reviews process as well. So once you have an account in Google, maybe I'm gonna pull up something here. Let's see. Why is my, there we go. Let's go back in here really fast. Reviews are hugely important. We're going to talk more about how to get them in just a second. But just know that once you have a profile, Google makes it really easy for you to start getting reviews because they give you a link. If you go down to the reviews area and you click on the number of reviews to look at, you'll see this button that says get more reviews. If you are the host of this or the owner of it, you'll see that. And when you click that, you'll get this link. That is your review link. That takes people directly into Google, into your reviews, and allows them to review you with the least amount of friction. That is highly important. So I recommend you use this a number of places. So just remember, you go in, you click in the reviews, you go to get more reviews instantly, and then you see this. You don't need to do the Facebook or email. Just copy that link out, save it somewhere important. That is a valuable link in the process for you. And we'll talk more about reviews a little bit later. Okay, so now let's just talk about really quickly other ways you can create awareness. Google is the big one. That's the one that you're going to want to work with the most, but there are other options out there for you. Yelp, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of these can help. Nextdoor is a powerful local tool that you can use to create awareness. So these are other ways you can create awareness throughout the process, but make sure you have the Google My Business. It's more important. Okay. Customer journey, exploration or consideration. I'm going to move a little faster because I realize I've taken up more time than I should have with that. The goal of the exploration phase is to build trust and create urgency. Okay. This is where your website goes. People think of their website as awareness. It's not. If nobody can find your website, it's not an awareness tool. And if they can find your website, they're not using it to become aware of you. They've already found you. They're using it to consider you. They're using it to decide whether you are the right candidate for them in their needs. So there are two tools that improve exploration and consideration heavily that are free or mostly free with websites. It just depends how you use your website. We're not going to go into the different technologies for websites today or anything like that. We're going big picture with this stuff. Third-party reviews, back to those Google reviews. You can also give reviews on Facebook, Yelp, and otherwise. That is a huge part of exploration and consideration. We all use reviews. 80% of people make buying decisions off of reviews almost exclusively. And then the website and your website. We're going to go over that. Okay, getting good at good reviews. Here's some tips to get more reviews. Most of you have lots of clients and not a lot of reviews, and that's because you're not sure when or how to get those reviews. So that link that we grabbed, link reviews on your website. Have a place on your website where somebody can go to review you, where you can put a button with that link built already in, takes them right to Google, cuts down the friction, makes it easier for them. Don't have them review you on a website via the website, because if you're just collecting a review on your website, it's not nearly as powerful as if you pull a review from Google back onto your website or add it back in later. You can do that by hand, depending on your technology, but you've got it on Google where it matters more than just something on your website. Use the review link in your communication. Start learning to use communication tools, SMS and email with your clients, and make sure that the review link is somewhere in there. Just, our business is boosted by, positive reviews, however you want to say it, something along those lines. We value your opinion. Please review us on Google, things like that. Add a QR code to your reviews in the treatment room. If you're curious about how to get or create a QR code, super simple. I'm not going to go over it today. Put a question in the thing, or just say, I want to know about QR codes, and I'll send you some information about how to create one with that link. But it's really easy and really powerful to do. Print it on the 8.5 by 11. Again, just say, our best reviews come from happy clients, something like that. Put a QR code there. Ask people to review you at the moment that they're done with the service, right at the counter, wherever you're at. Make it simple. Or you could have cards printed or anything else with that QR code, but make it simple. The goal is to make it easy for people. People care about you. They want to give you reviews, but people are also lazy and they inherently don't want to spend a bunch of time on these things. Follow up with clients to get reviews. Ask them for reviews. Make sure that you have a relationship with somebody, you have some loyalty, but that helps in the loyalty process because now if somebody reviews you and gives you a positive review, their loyalty to you is substantially higher. Them repeating those words, them writing those words out, that's just going to build them as a client for you specifically so that they can move forward. All right, let's talk about building a better website. I've seen the websites that are out there for a lot of the therapy community and the massage community, and they miss the mark on so many levels. I'm not here to be mean or to pick, but I'm going to be really direct today. To just talk about what the issues with those websites are. Again, I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, but if you want, I can get you access to all of this information as we get through this. Here's some things to remember. Communicate in the language of clients. What is important to your client? What adds value to their experience? And what are the phrases they use to define massage? One of the things that I've noticed with massage therapists is that modalities are so important in the communication for you guys. But statistically, if you go out and look at searches and you look at how people are finding you, modalities are very limited. People aren't that interested in how you get them feeling better. They're interested that you get them feeling better. This is one of the most important things on a website we'll talk about in a second. When you guys have lists of like 90 different services with all these different modalities, most people don't know the answer to that question. Most people don't know what they need. You're the expert. You tell them what they need. You make it easy on them. They will get paralyzed by that kind of information. And it certainly doesn't benefit you most of the time when they're just searching for, I have a headache, I want to relax, I don't feel well, whatever it is that might be leading them to on the road of massage. The specifics of how you do it don't really matter to them. I mean, think about mechanics. Think about anyone, like, I just want you to fix my car. I don't care what tools you have. Modalities are tools. They're powerful and you need them to do your job effectively. But most people aren't searching for what tools you have. They're searching for what services you provide. Make information easy. Create limited and easy navigation that helps interest move towards solutions and conversion. That means don't just stuff your site with a bunch of other headings, and make sure that the headings are important. Book now, right? Who I am, the basics, keep to those. Don't send people down rabbit trails. They'll get lost. And navigation has to make sense for them. They have to know what to do next. Build trust. We need to continue to build value and trust. Help potential clients understand the benefit of your treatments. That comes back to powerful writing, well-crafted, good-looking websites. If those are not your skills, hire for that, or use a friend or have somebody else help you, at least in that process, so that you're working on that. And then get those third-party testimonials. Get people to tell people how great you are. If you have badges, if you have anything, it's amazing. They could be meaningless to anyone else, but those kinds of things like little badges, something, your license number, whatever it is, those build trust and credibility with people throughout the process. Okay. So what should a website do? So what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to actually bring over 3 websites. My goal here is not to be mean, but I am going to be really direct about these websites. One of these is a friend of mine's. 2 of them I just found online. None of them, well, one of them is in the area, my friends. The other 2 are not in the area, but I just want to talk about them really quick. So let's look at this one. This one is in Lincoln Park somewhere. It's called Urban Oasis. It's got all these things that dance and move, and okay, great. But here's the thing. There's just not a lot here that instantly builds trust. The logo looks morphed. And doesn't look great. Don't know how this looks on a mobile device. Didn't take it that far. But I mean, you want to make sure all your pictures look good. Everything is consistent. You don't have to make it fancy. You just have to make it clean and simple. There's a bunch of uncertain about booking a massage or buying a gift card. Watch these 2-minute videos to decide. They give you a bunch of videos. That's too many videos. Just give me something to watch. Don't send me down a rabbit trail of a ton of different things. So news and reviews, promos and packages, videos. Again, I don't know that I need videos. What I need are services, right? You can have those as subsets, but don't take people too far down a rabbit trail. So now let's look at this price list. This is one of the things that I actually like. I don't love the look of this, but what I like is that it's really simple. 30 minutes, $80. 60 minutes, $130, right? They know kind of what they're doing. They have a couple of other options here, but for the most part, that part is pretty simple. However, I would say could use a little design, those kinds of things to think about. All right, I want to go to my friend's website, which is amazing. She's also a designer. She's great. If you happen to know Katie, she's an amazing person. She's located here in Vancouver, but you can see this site has a different feel. It's been thought out. It's been well designed. It has a good look, and it's instantly kind of telling a story. You know the feel of the place you're going to be going to based on the look of the imagery, based on the way the text is, the fonts. Then it gets into her story, but it doesn't go there right away. And then, loving remarks, that's her brand brand. That's her feel as far as just how people are talking about her. Everything about this is really intentional. Look at all of these different badges that she has. One is blurry. I don't like that. But otherwise, look at all, like, it just feels like, oh, I'm going to go somewhere and this is going to be a professional experience. She did put a lot into this website. I understand that. But at the same time, understand you don't have to make it this fancy. Just keep it simple. In her case, experiences is how she wants her services to be seen. So that tells a story in itself. There's a couple pieces up here, shopping and art expression, that maybe don't make as much sense, but unless you're a regular with her. Specials, if you have anything like that, people are going to assume they need to look at that because everybody wants a deal. So unless you're going to be running a regular special or promotion, I don't recommend a category listed as that, because especially if it says there are no promotions or specials right now, you're in trouble because you've just set people up for disappointment. Other than that, she has a big book now button. Now, here's the one issue. Let's look at her appointment system. Here's the problem. If you found her on the web and you didn't know who she was and you were not familiar with her services, you could do Reiki energy expression, 60-minute, 30-minute, 60-minute, 90-minute, 30-minute with animals, 30-minute vibration, 60-minute vibration, 90-minute vibration, 60-minute intuitive, 90-minute, 30-minute, 30-minute, 30-minute colors. Look at all these different things that she's offering. Here's the problem. That is overwhelming. And if somebody is overwhelmed, they're going to just tune out. Do not think that people will dig deeper. They will not. On average, statistically, a random person on your website wants a website that loads quickly, has easy options, and can make choices. I prefer what I call the 3 bears model. You have 3 options. If you need to have more than 3 options, start with 3 options. Do you want a 30-minute, a 60-minute, or a 90-minute? I would like a 60-minute. Would you like it to be sports related? Would you like it to be this? Oh, I'd like it to be this. You're helping them to make a decision. You're creating a decision tree. More than 3, you're going to overwhelm people that are not familiar with you and your services already. Okay. So that's a great looking site, but there's some issues there as far as service load and those kinds of things for booking new people. Here's a very simple website. I want you to see this. Now, the quality of that photo is okay. At least it's not too blurry, those kinds of things. But this is what's called a one-page site. If you don't have a site, get a one-page site. You have to have a website. So a one-page site just scrolls down. Everything in the navigation just scrolls down to the next thing. You don't have to take people on a major journey. So this site's pretty simple. Not a lot of information. Here is the thing I do like. Now, I'm not saying this form is the right answer, but what I like is, hey, if you want to meet with me and you're a new client, just fill out this form. And then she contacts them and helps them decide the services that they need, right? Or you can just set up like a new client meeting, which is 30 minutes always, or 60 minutes, where they get a treatment too, but they're not having to make those decisions, right? They can fill out some things about the things that they need. They want to improve sleep. They want to reduce soreness. These are for them. This is how they feel. It doesn't say, do you want craniosacral? I want to improve sleep. I want increased flexibility. That is a really good tool. Now, down here, she does have a couple of options. So there's some things about this site I don't love, but what I want you to understand is she's focused on what she treats. She's focused on her education, which builds trust. She's focused on a couple of things. What she's not focused on is necessarily a bunch of modalities or giving people endless choices. That's just a bad way to go. All right. So building a better website. Here's what you should do. You should ask yourself these questions. Does my website communicate who I am and what I do to a non-massage therapist? Does my website use more you language than I language, talking about the client more than the person? What is your call to action? If you want them to email you, fine. If you want them to call you, fine. But know what it is and specify that. You want a book now button, make it big, make it clear. Don't give them 3 or 4 options. Give them the one main option. You can subordinate other ones, but make sure the call to action is clear. Do they understand what to do next or what steps to take? Does it look good on phone or laptop? 80% of views are going to be on a phone. You want to make sure that it's going to look good in that way. Have I shared my strengths in easy to read ways? Bullet points, breaking things up. Don't just add 18 paragraphs of copy in a row. No one's going to read that. If you have large copy, make sure your font sizes are appropriate and make sure you're bolding some specific areas and sentences to just build structure. People are going to take the easiest route. No one wants to read a novel on your website. Does my website emphasize the solution more than the problem? Don't show people in pain. You can talk about pain, but more often I want more sleep is better than I'm tired, right? I want to feel better is better than I'm in pain or whatever. Focus on the solution, right? More than the problem. People know that they don't feel well. What you're helping them with is solving the problem through the process. Okay. So that's your website. So between your website and Google My Local, you make those changes, your business will start to improve. Now, the conversion aspect is the next piece on the journey, but we're not going to talk about conversion today. That's really your time on the table. And that honestly was some of the area that Suzanne was going to cover a little bit more, but we just don't have that information. But most of that is in your guys' wheelhouse. That's the part you're really good at. The only thing I would tell you about conversion from the website standpoint is, make it easy for them to connect with you. Make sure that you're not giving them too many choices, that you're using that 3 bears model, and that you're following good best practices with your website. Okay, customer journey, loyalty. We'll go through this real quick and then we'll just get to questions. Loyalty is about relationship, but it's your job to keep that relationship going. Don't assume that when you treat somebody, that once you treat them, that they're suddenly going to be like, oh, this is great. You're now my permanent therapist. People can be fickle. They do not understand the value of having the same therapist over and over. It's your job to communicate that. It's your job to help them understand. So here's a couple of keys that you can use to increase loyalty. A lot of this happens in your approach, your onboarding and table time. Those are for you to kind of decide your brand, but here's some ways you can think about adding loyalty. Follow up within 24 hours. Now, you don't need to do this every client. I know that can be time consuming, but have a system for follow-up. I love SMS. I love text. People have to feel comfortable with text, but it's beautiful because it has a 95% open rate, far more than email, although email right after service, you're going to get a pretty high open rate as well. You just want to communicate some things. Try and make it as personalized as possible. Hey, don't forget this. Hey, were you sore the next day? Hey, remember the stretch? Whatever it is, build that relationship with bidirectional communication with somebody, and do that within 24 hours. Any longer than that, and you're missing that opportunity in that window. Open a communication channel. This is, again, if they've only communicated with you through the website, you're now creating a communication channel. Hey, can I text you? Or I'm going to start to email you or whatever. Get comfortable with the communication channel, but you have to instigate that. They're not going to start communicating with you with that new channel. If you're going to set up a new appointment, once you send that text reminder to them or whatever, you're now opening up a text channel for communications so that you have a way to get a hold of them, but they also have easy ways to get in touch with you. Again, loyalty asks for referral. If you can get a referral out of them or you can get a review out of them, either one of those are going to help. Once they tell somebody you're great, it's only going to reaffirm it in their head. Once they write a review, it's only going to lock it into their brain as well. So you want them to engage with your brand throughout the process. If they engage, they're more likely to consider you their therapist and not just that person they got a massage from that one time. Losing people out the back means that you have to spend more time on the awareness phase and more time on the exploration phase, which are a lot more costly and a lot more time consuming than just maintaining the clients that you currently have. I recommend that you get into a practice of treating yourself as a healthcare professional. What that means is you're prescribing. If you go see another healthcare professional, they're prescribing. Physical therapist doesn't say just, yep, whatever. They say, hey, I need to see you 3 times a week. I need to see you every other week. I need to set up this schedule. If this is the problem we're trying to solve, here's how we do it, right? I recommend that you have those conversations early with everybody and that you reinforce that through these communication channels and following up. So again, with it, as long as you understand the customer journey, what I want you to get out of today is that awareness, just being seen by somebody, is not the only valuable thing. In fact, it's a huge waste of time if everybody in town knows who your brand is. But if you haven't figured out consideration, conversion, and loyalty, you've wasted that opportunity. You've inoculated them from your brand, because once they've chosen to not use you, it's harder to get them to choose you in the future. So you don't want a bunch of awareness campaigns with nothing else. If everyone goes to your website and it's a bad website, then all you're doing is inoculating people from considering your activities in the future, unless some major thing like a referral or word of mouth comes into play. Otherwise, they're just not going to choose you. So you want to have all aspects of your customer journey figured out. I recommend you just sit down and write out, what am I doing for awareness? What am I doing for consideration or exploration? What am I doing for conversion? Is it easy? Is it easy to shop with me? Is it easy to book me? Is it easy to work with me? Why should they book me? Does my website do a good job of telling somebody who's never met me what value I provide to them, not just about me? Loyalty. Do I have a system in place once somebody gets on my table to keep communication channels open? If you do those things, you will create a virtuous cycle in your marketing. And all of that is really at no cost other than whatever you pay for your website. Updating, cleaning up, making Google Business work for you. You don't have to be a content producer. You don't have to make a million videos. If that's your brand, do it. But most people feel overwhelmed because they feel like, oh, somebody told them they need SEO and somebody told them they need this and somebody told them they need all that. That's all awareness-based pieces, and they're important at some point, but get the rest in line. And I promise you, you'll start to look towards those goals of 2023